Alrighty, they've finished setting up, so we're going to throw it over to Darrenville, running Castlevania Circle of the Moon. Take it away.
Hi, everybody. I am Darrenville, and I'm going to be bringing you a Castlevania Circle of the Moon speedrun. I'm joined by Klaige.
Hey, how we doing?
Good morning, everybody. So we're doing fighter mode, all bosses, and to unlock fighter mode, you have to have first beaten the game on the initial default mode, which is Vampire Killer. After that, you unlock Magician mode. Upon finishing Magician mode, you then unlock Fighter. And as you can see, there are 2 other modes, but we're not going to worry about those. But anyway, to start a fighter mode category, you have to input this special file name. And with that, I think we're good to go.
Alrighty.
All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so first off, I want to give a huge shout out to Garnitrex. Garnitrex is essentially the OG speedrunner of this game. He's done a vast majority of the routing, the strat finding, and he's just like a huge help to a lot of new players. He's got a lot of guides and tutorials that he's made. So yeah, huge shout outs to him. He's also just a really cool guy and a great friend, so. Also shout outs to all the other Circle of the Moon speedrunning homies. As well as anybody who's speedrunning any of the handheld Igavanias. If anybody's actually interested in speedrunning any of these games, of course, handheld Igavania, I'm talking about this game, Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow, Dawn of Sorrow, and then later on the DS, did I say Dawn of Sorrow already?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. And then Portrait of Ruin and Order of Ecclesia. We have a speedrunning Discord that is dedicated to those. If you go to the Aria of Sorrow page on speedrun.com, you'll find a link to that page. And you can just go there and kind of chill, talk about strats, you know, how to play the game and all that. So definitely check it out if you're interested in speedrunning any of these games.
Yeah.
First thing I actually want to mention before I actually get into the speedrun is the music in this game. Throughout the game, you're probably going to recognize a lot of these tunes. And that is because 90% of the tunes in this game are actually remixes of previous Castlevania tunes. Mm-hmm. So Klaige and I are going to do our best to try to shout those out when we get to the areas.
Yeah, we'll see how much memory we have this early in the morning.
But this track specifically is actually one of 2 unique tracks to this game for 2 certain areas. This is the Catacombs, and it's a track called Awake, otherwise known as Nathan's Theme. It also got a Smash remix, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The other track is what plays in the Chapel Tower / Eternal Corridor area, which we'll be seeing later on. But yep, just get a quick level up here. Some of the early game here is actually level routing. I'm not actually killing these monsters for any sort of drop or anything. It's just to do extra damage early in the game. And the first boss we're going to is actually Cerberus. Good old 3-headed doggo. And like you'd think, he actually has 3 different attacks that he can do for each of his 3 heads, I suppose. He's always going to start out the same, and I actually got a wristband, so I'm going to equip that real quick. That is 5+ strength. Pretty lucky, actually, to get that so early.
Nice.
But he's always going to start out the same, kind of grayish color, just kind of lurching forward and then doing a little bit of a lunge at us. But now he can either go blue or red. We're hoping for blue. And we get blue, which actually kind of looks a little purpley on my screen, but you get the point.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's shooting these lightning orbs, and it's very easy to kill him during this cycle like that.
Nice,
very
good
nice.
Fight.
The other attack he could do is he could go red, and he'll jump to either side of the screen and then get onto a platform and then shoot a laser. Technically, you can still kill him in that cycle, but it's a lot tighter, so.
Yeah, going back to the music, you might have noticed the boss theme there is actually the music from Castlevania 64.
Yeah.
If you've been fortunate or unfortunate enough to go through that monstrosity. So, as Darrenville said, he's doing fighter mode right now, and fighter mode basically omits what is the main mechanic of the core game of Circle of the Moon, which is the card system, the DSS system. The cards offer various combinations that do all sorts of pretty impressive things, some of them really broken. And fighter mode forsakes all those. Cards can't drop, they can't be used. But in exchange, our good friend Nathan Graves here is incredibly bulky and strong now. So if you remember Darrenville's Mage Mode run back in SGDQ 2018, where it was constantly the fear of being one-shotted or things going awry or even some soft lock techniques, this is a little bit more of a safer category overall, because if he takes some hits, he's not going to implode instantly.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a little bit more of a chill category. Between the two, I actually prefer this one quite a bit. For a lot of the reasons Klaige actually just mentioned, but I guess in general, when I'm talking about this category, a lot of times it's like in contrast to Magician Mode, because the two are like essentially opposites of each other in a lot of ways. Another aspect of it that's so opposite is you actually get to see a lot more of the castle this time.
Yeah, definitely.
This is kind of like the more full tour, you know. We're still beelining to all the bosses, but you get to see a lot more of the castle, a little bit more of a sightseeing tour.
Yeah,
Whereas
this plays kind of like the more glitchless version of an Igavania game, whereas Mage Mode is definitely like your classic Soden. We can go through walls and warp and do all sorts of things that were unintended in the original route of the game, so you kind of get to see an actual, you know, platforming and going through enemies and stuff in this, which is nice.
Yep. Yeah, so Magician Mode would kind of be like the express tour of the castle, I suppose.
Definitely.
So this isn't really like the complete tour, though. For the complete tour, you'd have to watch a completionist category of this game, which sounds exactly as it is. You get every single equipable item, every heart, HP, MP max upgrade. You get every map square, all 20 cards. It's pretty insane, but that's the complete tour. We're just here for a chill, you know, sightseeing tour, basically.
Just gonna go say hi to some bosses, show them a whip, head out.
You happen to know this track, Klaige?
I might know a thing or two about this song. This one is Sinking Old Sanctuary, which is stage 2 in Castlevania Bloodlines, the game that I've been running for about 9 years now, and it's played a lot on this map in this particular Igavania, but it's a really good remix of it. It was really cool to see some Bloodlines music get put in other games, most notably this, and then Portrait of Ruin, which is kind of a spiritual successor plot-wise to Bloodlines. So a lot of people don't know that much about the Bloodlines soundtrack because it's kind of the redheaded stepchild of the classic Castlevanias being on the Genesis. So, but yeah, the music in this game's really good. The Game Boy player is kind of a blessing because you get to actually hear it in stereo and stuff as opposed to the original GBA speakers.
All right, so this is Necromancer. We grabbed the axe sub-weapon so that kind of on this like upward turn, we can actually get some double hits. So I can throw the axe, there we go. But during the second phase, there's a certain attack that I really, really don't want him to do. Let's see if he does it. And he starts right out with it.
Yep.
This is the nice green orb. Some people that know me, I also speedrun Mega Man X, and he did another one. Yeah, good morning to you too, Necromancer.
Nice. Yeah, no, we're definitely at a GDQ right now. RNG is powerful.
But it's kind of a mix of like a Chill Penguin slide and a Storm Eagle dive.
Yeah.
Where the Chill Penguin, he's invincible, and the Storm Eagle, he's kind of flying all around the room. So really, it's just the best of both worlds.
Yeah. How much of your time can I waste in this boss fight where your timer is still ticking?
Yeah. Yeah, no matter which way you slice it, there's just a lot of luck that's involved in this run.
Yeah.
Or in this game in general, whatever category you choose.
Yeah, obviously, if you're playing any of the modes that involve the cards, not all the cards are guaranteed to drop. In fact, most of them are not. So you have to be prepared to do some farming and or, you know, I don't know how much manipulation's been built into potential drops yet for this run, but
not a bit.
Yeah, I kind of figured. So it's yeah, drop RNG is always an interesting part of Igavania runs where you know there's no good way to kind of circumvent that. So
yeah, I was going to talk about that just in a little bit here, but yeah, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure Garnatrix has told me before, but RNG cycles like literally every frame of Nathan's movement. So,
wow.
Yeah, the RNG is too good in this game. There's no way.
That's a powerful way to keep people from manipulating what they want out of it in real time.
All right, there's some cycles in these next two rooms that I'm going to try to hit. There's a lot of moving platforms, so I'm just going to focus here for just a minute. There's one.
Nice.
lag there always scares me a little bit. And there's 2. Okay.
Nice. Very nice room.
Yeah, those are pretty tight.
Yeah, this is a neat area in Circle of the Moon. Of course, every Castlevania has to have its clock tower of some format to play in, so...
Yeah, and I think this is a Clockwork, the track.
Yeah.
From one of them Castlevanias.
Yeah, I can't remember which one Clockwork is from off the top of my head, but... Yeah, this is a fun room or a fun area of the game to see done quickly. It's a less fun area to do casually when you fall all the way back down to the beginning of a room and have to restart the climb.
All right, we're coming up to Iron Golem, and we're going to be picking up our cross sub-weapon, which we will be keeping for the rest of the run because it is extremely overpowered. Oops, I didn't mean to throw that. That's okay.
Yeah, that's another fun part of fighter mode is the sub-weapons get a little bit more screen time as opposed to the DSS cards kind of dominating a lot of the show in Magician mode.
A little low on hearts, I'm gonna whip them at the end there. But yeah, you're gonna notice a pretty common theme with the bosses is that they're really susceptible to the cross, not because of just the damage output, but also they kind of just like move in such a way that like where the cross kind of like comes out and then comes back in, you can just get a massive amount of damage.
Yeah,
pretty nice.
And bosses have very few iframes on hits in this game. You can kind of just stack damage, which I'm frankly jealous of in my game where you have guaranteed 36 frames between vulnerability strikes.
So I just got the wall kick ability, and I also got the tackle earlier.
Yeah.
So another reason I really like this game, and I know this term gets thrown around a lot, but it's a Metroidvania game, like through and through, by the books, like to a T, no frills, like just exactly that design concept. And the design concept I'm talking about specifically is the thing where you go to an area, you fight a boss, you get a magic item, that magic item allows you to go to the next area, you find another boss, kill the boss, you get another magic item, that magic item takes you to another new area, and yeah, you know where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
But if anybody didn't know, this game actually came out pretty soon after Symphony of the Night, so it had some pretty big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And it followed that design concept like to a T, just in general. And Symphony of the Night, I'm sure most people know, kind of set the standard for this game and all the other Yugavanias to come after for handheld. So just another reason I quite enjoy this game. I just really appreciate that design fact of it.
Yeah, it's fun. When you're playing this game casually, it's very much designed to let you explore, and you can get to areas and then you'll come to an obstacle that you have no idea how you're supposed to pass through. And then it kind of gives you that aha moment when you defeat a boss and unlock one of the abilities and be able to come back and explore further.
Yeah, so coming up is the Chapel Tower area and Eternal Corridor, which I was saying earlier is one of the unique tracks, but this is definitely one of those spots where you see an area where it's like, oh, I could go up there, but I can't jump that high. So you remember that, and then you come back here and, hey, I can wall kick, look at this. I guess the other thing I could mention now is the drop rates in this game. They're really bad. And to get a top time in this game, you really, really want a strength ring. A wristband at this point doesn't really do me very good. It's just +5 strength. It's good early game, but it's not doing me any good now. But coming up are these werebears, and I'm actually going to be killing them to hopefully get a strength ring. Chances are I will not get one, but we'll see. Oh,
wow.
My God.
All right. Ask and ye shall receive.
That is insane. Oh my God. Why am I even killing these guys? I should just go. That's crazy.
Nice.
That is actually crazy. So that is +50 strength. That is a lot.
Yeah.
And I got an intelligence ring for some reason. I don't really need that, but okay. So I guess this is kind of the trade-off for the Necromancer RNG. I'm not really sure.
There you go.
This is really interesting, actually. I don't know what kind of pace I'm on right now, but if I were like doing attempts of this, I would be like super focus mode. Because the thing about this game is to get a top time, like I said, you need that strength ring. And like, you know, there's a lot of good platforming execution that you got to do, but it really just comes down to that. So like if you get a strength ring, it's like go time. Like you got to capitalize on that the best you can. And if you don't, you just kind of feel really bad about yourself. It's just a really low chance that you're ever going to get one.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a lot of the mainline, Castlevania entries, both the Igavania style and the classic style. They've had a lot of talented runners, have put a lot of time into these games, so it's getting to the point where your execution is expected to be near flawless, and you're kind of at the mercy of whether or not the game wants to let you actually perform your run.
Yeah. Just kind of what I was talking about earlier. It's like no matter which category you pick, there's just a whole bunch of luck involved, whether or not it's the bone lottery of Magician or the strength drops of Fighter, But there's some pretty good platforming in this area. I missed the triple wall kick back there, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It looks pretty slick when you get it.
Yeah, even just playing the base game, the base category, like I said earlier, the drop rate on cards can be pretty fickle as well. I actually did my first playthrough of this game fully. I bought this when it first came out as a launch game for the GBA, but never got around to finishing it. And last year I did a Metroidvania marathon to kind of do something fun on stream, and I started with doing my first playthrough of this, and later found out through the end of that playthrough that I got very, very bad drop luck and was lacking some cards that are kind of important to make the later parts of the game, including the final boss, feel fair in any way, shape, or form. So sometimes Circle the Moon does not care about your feelings and will not give you what you need.
Yeah. That's actually another part of the design of this game that I kind of appreciate is like the first time that you play through this game, chances are you're going to get very few cards. Mm-hmm. But the developers were like, all right, so you beat the original, initial mode. So here's Magician mode. Here's all the cards. Here's a bunch of intelligence. Go wild. See what you can do, So I always kind of appreciated that.
Yeah, this game has one of the most robust extra modes of any Igavania game, to be honest. Just you have a lot of cool options to play with and check out.
So this guy's going to go down super fast because I have a strength rank 47 damage.
Wow.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Take a hit there. Didn't really do much about that. One more should probably do it, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about your accident.
So this is going to be actually the only time I'm pretty sure that we don't get a magic item. This time we're actually going to hit a switch that breaks open the statue, and there's a few of these in the castle that all go to different areas. And I'm actually going to be going to Camilla early, which is kind of like a little bit of a route change than what we used to do. It's not technically the developer intended boss route in a sense. You're supposed to fight Camilla third to last or something like that, but we're actually going to go there early. And while I'm doing a bit of backtracking to get there, we could actually throw in some donations here.
Absolutely. We have a $100 donation from Grails. I say, this is my intro to Castlevania series when I was a kid on GBA. Awesome game. Love the series. Thanks for the nostalgia and what I'm sure will be an awesome run. We have another $10 from Sushi Elemental. It says, Dr. Acula to the boss room. Calling Dr. Acula. Please come to the boss room. Thank you. Got a $15 from a Pi 10 Cat. Just says, honk.
Could throw in a few more, actually.
Alrighty. We have a $50 donation from Mr. Willett. Said, here's $50 to give everyone in Pokemon White 2 the same name, Pikachu. Will it be a challenge for Pulse Effect? And that is a bid war, so if you guys want to get those names in, get those donations rolling.
All right, so we're back in the central area of the castle, which we had kind of mentioned before. This kind of acts as like your little hub area in a sense, where all the other areas kind of branch out from here. And we're going to be going to the underground waterway. Now, you're not technically supposed to go here yet, even though you can, because it's now open to us. This is like the only sort of sketchy part of the run. Just in general, we have so much health, so it's not a big deal. But because we don't have the cleansing tab, which is something we're supposed to be getting from death after we defeat death, the water in here is actually going to be kind of like a bloody red, and it does damage on contact. And I don't know. I don't know why I said it's a sketchy part of the run. It's like really not even that scary, to be honest.
I mean, funny you mentioned this. A certain ROM scout was watching my first playthrough of this and was like, hey, I'll donate if you go through this area without changing the water. I'm like, I didn't even know you could change the water. He's like, oh, we'll do it anyway. And as a first-time playthrough on casual mode when you don't have fighter mode stats, it's not a very good idea.
No, it is actually a lot scarier.
It was really hard. I think I spent a good hour and a half, 2 hours here trying to just not die.
Yeah, the only scary part in Fighter is these icicles, because they do a lot of damage.
Yeah, those things hurt.
But yeah, definitely shout outs to anybody. I was actually talking to Miria yesterday, and she also, when she first played this game, did this area before getting the cleansing tab. I actually did the same when I was a kid, because I had no idea where to go, and I was very convinced that this was the next place to go. So I kind of just somehow mustered my way through it.
I feel like this is the one part of this map that kind of doesn't direct you as much, and the fact that the water doesn't just outright kill you kind of gives, you know,
right.
Especially if you've been an old school Castlevania player, you're like, well, I guess this is just my life now, and I'm gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah. So definitely shout outs to anybody else watching at home that has memories of doing this place early without actually knowing about the cleansing tab. But I'm almost on my way to Camilla. You can actually throw in just a couple more donations.
Absolutely. Fubajube90 donates $25, says, hey, there's a kludge on the couch. Good luck on the run, Darrenville. Put this money to the Super Punch-Out blindfolded race.
Thanks, Fubajube.
We have $20 from Casey215. No comment, but thank you for the donation. Another $75 from Dodecalope. Also no comment, but again, thank you for that generosity.
So as you can tell, the kind of the main gimmick of this area is these switches that raise and lower these staircases. I did mention it earlier, but there was one in like the second room where you can just like kind of skip it sort of by hitting the switch as you're falling, basically.
Yeah, it's a cool little skip.
All right, here's Camilla. I have 80 hearts and a strength ring, so I'm like literally not terrified at all. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, this fight was really scary as a casual playthrough.
Oh, yes.
She has a lot of health.
Yeah, and the laser does a ton of damage too. So again, common theme, her flight pattern is just so perfect for these crosses. So I don't even know how many, okay, I guess that's it.
Strength ring does things.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we didn't even really get deep enough into the music to mention that is the final boss theme from Castlevania 3.
Yep. Also, the underground waterway is from something, but I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
Like some sort of aqueducts area. I'm not sure. Anyway, so Camilla is dead, and we get the best movement upgrade in this game, and that is the rock wing. And it lets us super jump.
Yeah.
Pretty common upgrade in these kinds of games. This one's especially nice because all you have to do is press up and R to do it.
And this one's incredibly fast, too. This is probably the best super jump that's ever been in an Ecovania, to be honest.
I didn't really mention it, but I've been collecting heart maxes, kind of for obvious reasons. There's a lot of heart routing in this game to have enough hearts for each boss. Obviously, as we go through the castle, you kind of have to like memorize where all the big hearts are so that you have enough for each boss.
Yeah, that's kind of a fun, I appreciate that about this particular Ecovania, because a lot of times heart count is not a very relevant part of routing in a lot of these games, just simply because a lot of times hearts are just not that useful in a lot of the runs. But with fighter mode here, as you've seen, the cross does a lot of work, so hearts are at a premium.
Yeah, I'll pick up one more in here. And I got a heart item, which is kind of nice.
Nice.
I'm probably not going to need it, but I guess just in case. This is probably one of my favorite tracks in the game right here. Fan favorite, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. This is Aquarius from Castlevania 3.
So in Magician mode, this area is extremely scary. Oh wow, I almost got hit by that. I'm surprised I didn't. But these next two hallways coming up, we have dubbed the Hallways of Doom. And they're not very scary in this category because we can kill these maws in one hit, which is kind of nice. Just tank that hit, no big deal. But,
Yeah, if I recall your SGDQ run of Magician Mode, this is where some serious clinch moments were going on.
Oh yeah, I got poisoned, I remember.
Yeah.
And I was like about to die going to the save point. I was like, oh geez. It was all under control for sure. Those killer bees have a rare drop of a night suit, which is plus 20 strength, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Or plus 30, I can't quite remember. I missed that heart, but yeah, that would have been nice. Sometimes I've gotten that before. It's extremely rare though. Anyway, this is Zombie Dragons. This is the reason we went to Camilla early, actually. I didn't say quite much about this boss fight, but I think it'll speak for itself. It's really random. Okay, there's one. The other one should be dead pretty soon. Yep.
Nice.
Okay.
Good fight.
Yeah, decent fight there. The big thing about zombie dragons is that you want to kind of line up the damage so that you kill both of them like relatively at the same time. And the reason for that is because if you leave one dead, the other one, its first attack that it's going to go for is to just chow down on his buddy's corpse to get health, which is pretty metal, but we definitely don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a decent fight. A lot of help from the strength ring again.
Yeah.
But next, I'm going to be going to the underground warehouse. So a little bit of backtracking, throwing a couple more donations here.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a $30 donation from Raw Mustard. It says, let's show GDQ how these drillbur can run. Sam M198 donates $10 with no comment. But thank you again for the donation. Also, that song you guys were thinking of was definitely from Alucard's area in Castlevania 3.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, yes.
An underground cave.
Yep, thank you.
And Etsa donated $50, also with no comment, but thank you so much for that generous donation.
All right, so we're on our way to the warehouse. The magic item that I got was the push ring, which allows you to push blocks. It's very exciting. The one we got before from Necromancer was the tackle, and that allowed us to break blocks. So,
Yeah. Despite not being in fighter mode and being incredibly buff, Nathan was not strong enough to push a crate yet.
yeah. So, like, the whole gimmick of this area is all these push block puzzles, and we're gonna be skipping like little sections of them, sort of. We're gonna try to expedite this section a little bit just by doing a little bit of fancy pushing, I guess. But I could also get a curse ring from one of these poltergeists. It's actually a common drop from them, and so it's not like all that uncommon to get one. Let's see, one more try here, and I did not get one. There's two more right before the death boss fight, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, like most Egavanias, most enemies will have like their common drop and then their rare drop. But as Darrenville was saying, in this game, the rare drops, that's not a misnomer. They are very rare.
There's a heart max down here. I am actually going to skip it. I wouldn't usually skip that. That is another big benefit of having the strength ring. I do not need quite as many hearts as I usually would. There's no way to really speed up this push block one. You need both of these to go through here.
So how much, if you were doing attempts, like if that first drop strength ring, how much time does that potentially boost in this run?
Oh yeah, so I didn't mention it, but the record holder is Garnatrix for this category. And for a while, we knew that 36 was possible. It's just that you kind of needed really, really great luck. Mm-hmm. So the record right now is a 36-34. Wow. With Garnatrix having the strength ring. And pretty recently, I actually got a strength ring run where I got a 36-39.
Nice.
So we're like neck and neck in that category. Him and I have been like pretty good sources of competition for each other.
Awesome.
But before that, I think the best, I don't know if it's like really the best, don't quote me on it, but I think the best you can do with like, I don't know, like a 2 wristband or even just like a no drop run, like you can still 37, but that's about as good as it's gonna get. All right, here's Death. Death is gonna die. Again, flight pattern is like super optimal for these crosses. Ooh, got hit though. Bit of a slow first phase, that's okay. It seems really simple, but those sickles can definitely troll you a little bit. And here's the second phase, kind of praying mantis, with snail butt Death.
Yeah, this is an interesting second phase Death.
Weird design, yeah. He's pretty tough though. He can be in casual playthroughs for sure.
Oh yeah, no, this version of Death hits insanely hard. Just in general, in Circle the Moon, enemies do not pull punches on damage, especially your first time through. Like, as we mentioned, fighter mode, Nathan's pretty bulky here, and you saw even that one hit did almost 20% of Darrenville's bar, so taking melee damage in this comes with pretty serious consequences.
Yeah. All right, so I'm coming up to the last area, which is going to be an extremely recognizable tune. We don't need to mention it like at all. But I really haven't talked a whole lot about the story of this game, actually. I could just do a quick Cliff Notes version, I guess. So we're Nathan Graves, protagonist, and our buddy Hugh Baldwin is like super salty because his father, Morris Baldwin, who we saw at the beginning of the game in the intro cutscene, chose Nathan to wield the Hunter's Whip instead of Hugh. Now, this jealousy, I guess, you know, pretty typical rivalry between buds. But now that we're in Dracula's castle, or I guess Camilla's castle in this case, Camilla took that as an opportunity to kind of like corrupt him and make him turn evil, make him turn against us.
Yep.
So he is now at the top of this tower, awaiting us, awaiting our arrival.
Yeah, Hugh's father's name, Morris, is actually a minor reference to Bloodlines and Portrait of Ruin, with the Morris family being the offshoot family from the Belmonts.
Yeah.
But then we're getting into Bram Stoker Dracula lore, which is actually a canon part of lore in parts of Castlevania. And if you think the Zelda timeline will make your head hurt, just try and put the Castlevania lore into one coherent thing.
Yeah.
And your brain will hurt a lot.
So I know that this game is not technically canon, from what I hear, but I do remember, like, as a kid, I don't know if my brother told me or I saw it in a magazine or something, but I was under the impression for a long time that the Morris, or the Baldwin family were, like, distant cousins to the Belmonts or something like that. But that is actually not the case.
Yeah, every few games, Konami just decides to take the Belmonts out of the limelight and puts in a random new set of vampire killers for fun. And this was definitely that case. Actually, all three GBA Igavenias have non-Belmonts as key characters in it, with the Harmony of Dissonance being the only one that has a Belmont as the protagonist.
These dark armors can be pretty trolly as well. Getting favorable patterns here. Yeah, not so bad.
Yeah, even with all the abilities, this is a rough climb. I remember struggling in this part quite a bit. And then a very recognizable throne room here.
Yeah. So this is our buddy Hugh. And we gotta knock some sense into him. So clearly, you can see why Morris chose us instead of his own son. He should probably work on his fighting strategies a little more.
Hey, remember he has sub-weapon, so that's good.
Yeah. It's actually a little bit of a newer strat there, sort of newer, to use the damage boost from that to get 2 quick slide hits in. It's kind of nice. So now he's gonna power up, use his DSS, use all his magic powers, his magic power to run at us and slash his sword.
Nice, really good fight. Yeah, the slide is very powerful in this game. It's one of the better slides I can remember in an Igavania.
Yeah. All right, so we knock some sense into Hugh. He's come to his senses. and wants us to take the final key that is in this next room and go face Dracula and save his father. So we are approaching the end of the run. Again, I want to shout out the Igavania speedrun Discord. Again, if anybody's interested in speedrunning any of these games, go ahead and check that out. It's on the Aria of Sorrow speedrun.com page. You can find a link for that. We also have our own Circle of the Moon speedrunning Discord as well that you can find on the speedrun.com page for that. And that was Satan by Satan. Generally in attempts, I actually would not go for a health max here, depending on what kind of pace I was on. But obviously this is a marathon, so I'm gonna go for it.
Sure.
There's a little health max upgrade right down here.
Is that the first instance of the warp that's been in the entire run?
The teleporter?
Yeah.
No, there's a couple other.
Was there? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so used to it being such a core part of Igavania runs, but this is, like you said, you kind of get the full tour of the castle almost.
Yeah. So, very standard Dracula fight. Pretty recognizable. He teleports around the room and shoots different forms of bats. Unfortunately, I really love this boss track, but we don't get to hear very much of it since he dies so fast.
Yeah, this is one of the more fleshed out, like, remixes of a classic Castlevania track in this game.
So that was first phase, first form. Dracula is seeking his full power, teleports away.
Yeah, we can't have one form of Dracula in a Castlevania game. That's just not kosher.
Hugh comes in to take his father away and wishes us the best on our final fight. This fight is pretty difficult casually, especially on Vampire Killer mode.
I had immense problems with this fight my first time through. It was, I was feeling very helpless in this fight for a lot of it.
All right, Bubbles. That's not that bad. If he gives me meteors after this, it's kind of lame, but this is fine. What we really want is lasers, because that attack kind of takes a while, and we can actually get him into second phase before that happens. All right, lasers. Not bad. It's funny, the meteor phase is like impossible to dodge unless you pause buffer.
It really is.
But in fighter mode, usually I just start throwing crosses on the platform and just pray that I'm not gonna get hit. All right, doing some charges. This is the second phase. He's gonna do some charges and then reveal his eyeball. Getting cross hits on this guy during this part of the fight is actually pretty tricky. The flight pattern is kind of interesting. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think I'm going to two-cycle this, but we'll see. Just be ready on time, just in case. I don't think I did enough damage, though. Yeah, not quite. All right, definitely be ready on time this time. He's going to be dead any
Two
second.
cycles, the optimal fight, if I recall on this.
Yeah. And that is time.
There we go.
All right, I'm looking down, 37, 45, very nice.
Nice. That's really good marathon run.
Yeah, that is really good. So we get the little ending cutscene here. Nathan escapes from the crumbling castle. And after that, we get our protagonist on the cliffside. Definitely never seen that at the end of a Castlevania game before.
And we'll never see Dracula again.
Right, never see him again. So yeah, and Hugh and Nathan kind of settle their differences, become best buds again, and Morris kind of tells Hugh, like, hey, your training needs to begin anew because, you know, what were you doing in that castle, bro? You're supposed to help your buddy Nathan. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. I really appreciate being able to run this game again, especially showing off fighter mode, which lost out on the bid war back at SGDQ 2018. And just want to say I hope to see more Circle of the Moon in the future GDQs. Thank you guys so much.
Okay. Thank you.
And thank you, Darrenville, for that awesome run. Coming up next, we got Shovel Knight Treasure Trove by Muncha Koopas. They're going to be setting that up soon, so we'll go ahead and get through some donations here. We had $15 from Solid Link. Says, hey guys, I absolutely had to do my first GDQ donation ever during Castlevania, one of my favorite series. Good luck. Jesse Lockhart also donated $25 and said, good luck, Darrenville, on your Circle of the Moon run. You're going to need it with Klaige on the couch. Klaige board, put this towards blindfolded super punch-out. This run is going to be pizza cake. We had a $100 donation from Dragoon Zero. No comment, but thanks so much for that generous donation. Chaotic Newt donated another $50. No comment, but again, thank you so much. And we got $10 from Mighty Manny. All I say is, Pog. We've got a $30 donation from Sturk. No comment, but again, thank you so much for the donation. And don't forget, everybody, we do have some bid wars going on, such as the Pokemon White 2 Rivals name. and really just naming pretty much everything in Pokemon White 2. So if you guys want to change these names, get these donations in.
Send someone to see you over by the practice area. He'll be right over.
We've got a $25 donation from Ceaselessly. It says, much love as always to GDQ. Donation goes to Super Punch-Out Blindfolded because watching Zallard's blindfolded run at SGDQ this year changed my life. Happy running. And with that, we're going to run a quick Twitch ad, so stay tuned. We're still setting up for Shovel Knight Treasure Trove coming up, but I did want to remind everybody about our sponsor, The Yeti. The Yeti has been sporting Games Done Quick events since 2012, and they are the official t-shirt sponsor for Games Done Quick. If you want to get official GDQ tees, go to www.theyeti.com. Mr. Cab 55 fittingly donated $55. No comment, but again, thank you so much. Got $30 from Fisolino. Says, remember no comment, and also the no comment, no comment. Oh yeah, first time donating to GDQ. Although there aren't a lot of people in the audience right now, there are a ton on stream. Have fun. And another $5 comes in from Anonymous, and they say, just want to say heart in the chat. You guys are amazing. That's a less than 3 heart, just for that clarification. Had another $5 donation from Ceaselessly. Says, can we get an early morning $5 train going? Choo choo. Let's get that train going.